Good evening, everyone. Today is class 60. So please stand out as Bhante will light the candle. Please be seated. Okay, I am Sister Ingyan. So for those who are first time here, please be reminded to mark your attendance, which can be found on the table. And if you are not part of the member of WhatsApp group, you can scan QR code to join the group. Okay. And now let me share a brief introduction on Bhante Dr. G.Chandima. Bhante is an associate editor of the Journal of International Buddhist Studies at the Buddhist Research Institute of MCU University in Thailand. He was formerly a research fellow at the Center for Studies in Religion and Society, CSRS, of the University of Victoria, Canada. Bhante's most recent article, The Function and Contemporary Role of Sikha Pachakana, Abandoning the Training Rules in the Pali Canon, was published in the Journal of Buddhist Ethics under the Pennsylvania State University Press, USA. Bhante's work can be accessed at patisota.blogspot.com. Patisota blog was ranked 58 globally in the 100 best Buddhist blogs and websites for 2024. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Sister Yang. Right, a very good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back to our Sutta discussion. Today is day 60 of our Sutta discussion series. Before we get started, shall we pay respect to the Buddha? Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Last Monday we discussed about the whole Dhamma's qualities, as you can remember. That means it is almost here. Yes, we discussed number 11 almost, and today we are going to discuss about Saṅgha's great qualities. So how many qualities, great qualities are there with regard to the Saṅgha members? 9, right? There are 9 great qualities of the Saṅgha members. And you know that how these Saṅgha's great qualities are coming into this Dajjagga Sutta. It is because the Buddha is teaching monks and nuns and others that if you encounter any fear, stress, or any such thing in your life, at that point you can reflect upon the Buddha's great qualities. If by reflecting upon remembering upon the Buddha's 9 great qualities, after that, if fear and all that thing still going to persist, then you can remember about the Dhamma's great qualities. And now sometimes, if even by remembering about the Dhamma's great qualities, the 6 Dhamma's great qualities, still there may be some fear, some negativities can prevail. At that point, the Buddha said, you can resort to the last category. That means Saṅgha members. But how to put it into the normal language, normal understanding, rather than understanding as a traditional set of qualities. How to understand the Sangha members. This is the thing. The basic, simple topic for that could be how to understand Sangha members, how to introduce Sangha members. Because you normally understand Sangha members from the monk in the vihara, right? That is your first point of view. If the Sangha member has different XYZ qualities, you think that is the nature of a Sangha member. So this could be a problem. That is number one. Second is that if you are going to think Sangha members only from these 9 great qualities, you might always get disappointed, right? Because you don't see them that much to the extent that we are talking here. So we have to be very careful here, because it is not just talking about it, it is also how to digest these great qualities, because you see them, and how to understand, how to feel these great qualities with regard to them. Not that perhaps your first impression about a Sangha member, or a kind of a very perfectionist view about Sangha members. So these two are sort of two things where people may get stuck. So be careful. Have a very healthy perspective of these great qualities and the actual Sangha members. You are not dealing with the high-minded Sangha members as we see here. So you have to look for a fine balance between those two ends. Let me ask you, how have you perceived a Sangha member in your life, especially in this Buddhist community, or perhaps in your relationship, in your connection to a vihara? I think most of you go to many viharas, aren't you? And Buddhist centers, maybe the temple nearby your house, maybe other places where you have been going. So what was the first impression about a Sangha member? Let me ask you. We will start our discussion from that point. Otherwise there's no point of just getting into these qualities without knowing who they are. You understand that they are representing Buddha and Dhamma. Supposed to be, yeah? They are supposed to represent. But the Sangha community has evolved, like you, right? Lay community has evolved. Their ways of thinking, their ways of life, their marriages, their relationships, raising children, working life, housing, medicine, things have evolved. And Sangha members must have evolved too, otherwise they can't do anything to you. Because they are working, they have to deal with you. You are not dealing with the forest Sangha. They are not coming to your event, right? Are they coming? Forest Sangha members don't come to your activities. Normally urban Sangha members come to your events, your funeral, your blessing, your dana. They are closely working with you. When they are working with you, there are some problems that can arise, because they have to keep up with their practice too. If you go to the forest, they are not dealing with the people that much unless you go and give a dana and come back. So that means the urban Sangha members and then the forest Sangha members, we understand them a little bit differently in terms of the outreach. Right? So the forest Sangha members, they only want to think about their their spiritual life. That is the main focus. The urban Sangha members, they not only have to think about their spiritual life, but also have to think about you. Do a blessing, chanting, dana. I think we have to appreciate these two groups separately. But I think you are mostly dealing with these urban Sangha members. And then, what was the first impression that you had on that day? I think last Monday, we were talking how you got into Buddhism. Remember? And some of you, I think most of you said that you are coming from a Tao background, and Buddhism was introduced to you at a certain point. Introduced to you maybe um, you got to know maybe through books. Somebody said that they accidentally bumped into Buddhism, and then they found out Buddhism is not an accident anymore. And there were many ways how people tapped into Buddhist practices. But what Buddhist practices they tapped into? Sometimes cultural Buddhism, sometimes a kind of a book Buddhism, sometimes a kind of a very meditation-based Buddhism, sometimes a kind of a very ritualistic Buddhism, right? Sometimes a cult, right? There are Buddhist cults as well, right, in the world, right? The cults can revolve around from a small activity and up until respecting the war heroes in some Buddhist sects have evolved. So your impression may have been that you see that they are representing Buddha and Dhamma. How many categories of monks are there now in Buddhism? There are many categories at the moment. What are the main categories? Theravada Saṅgha community, and then Mahayana Saṅgha community, and then Vajrayana Saṅgha community, and then Saṅgha communities who have different sects. If you go to Indonesia, Buddhayana community. You see sometimes a Theravada Mahayana mix in that temple. Indonesian Saṅgha is pretty particular about, and they are really monitoring their Saṅgha membership. And you see, if you go to some other countries, they have their own sects. Sri Lanka, they have Saṅgha from Thailand, they call Syama Saṅgha members. And they have two other sects, Ramanya and Amarpura. They say they come from Burma, right? Now the Sri Lankan Saṅgha fellowship come from foreign countries. It's not Sri Lanka itself, because come from Thailand, come from Burma, come from Burma. So what has happened to the original Saṅgha membership that happened in Sri Lanka, early Mahavihara, right? Like the Buddhist Mahavihara. Mahavihara is the first place, right? That was the place Arhan Mahinda and other monks, Arhan monks established, right? What happened to them? In the 17th century in Sri Lanka, 17, during the time of the first, I think almost maybe third colonizers' time, the British time, what happened? It is said the Saṅgha members have devolved at that point. They have not evolved. So at that point, there were no monks like wearing the full robe 24 hours. They were kind of hybrid monks. So they wear the robe part-time, and then they also maintain a family. Interesting, huh? Never heard. That's the story. Okay. So we call these monks as Ganinansi. I'm talking about 17th century, yeah? 17th century. Sri Lanka. Now this Saṅgha membership is very unbroken here from, what do you call? Arhan Mahinda's time. Mahinda's time up until 17th century, Sri Lanka. And we know these Saṅgha members were pretty much in Kandy. Okay? They were a group of monks. But they were called Ganinansi. Yeah? Ganinansi. Ganinansi. I mean, don't worry, I'm trying to tell you what's going on, because you cannot just look at qualities of Saṅgha membership without understanding what has been happening in the history. So, what happened that they were maintaining a family at the same time they were running a temple. Like in Japan, in Japanese most monasteries, temples in Japan, we understand Shinto and Nichiren, the monks, they have a family. And that is the nature. But we don't see it in Korea. South Korean Mahayana tradition is not like this. But in Japanese Mahayana tradition is a little bit different. They have their own advantages, their own point of view. We don't have to insult anybody. I'm just trying to see it. But what happened, during this time, there was a monk came, Saranankara. Saranankara is a Samanera. Samanera Saranankara. So he wanted to learn some Pali. So he found out that there is no Pali teacher, but there's only one man. His name is Leuke. He's Leuke, layman. He knows Pali, but he was imprisoned by that time. So he went to the prison under the British, and then he learned Pali from him. And then he, anyways, approached the king in Sri Lanka at that time, in the Kandyan era, said, we want true Buddhism. Now Buddhism exists only in Siamese kingdom in Thailand. So at that time, he requested. But even this was requested, there was a long time because of the ships and cruise. At that time, the maritime was done by the VOC company, Dutch company, the maritime affairs. So the king requested this VOC company to bring monks from Thailand to Sri Lanka. So what they did, they supplied brides from South India, Madras, Chennai, and monks from Thailand. Interesting. So they brought monks from, later on they brought monks from Thailand, and the king wanted different type of women, so they brought Tamil women from Sri Lanka. They became the queen after. That's why in Sri Lankan temples you see the sort of Devalaya, the Deva shrines, because the king's queen wanted to go to temple. When the king goes to the Buddhist temple, so the king asked to set up Hindu deities shrines inside the Sri Lankan. You go to any Sri Lankan temple, you see still they have this Devalaya, what you call kind of a kovil. So what happened, this VOC company, the Dutch company, they brought Thai monks to Sri Lanka at a certain point through Ayutthaya, Batam, and then Sri Lanka, Trincomalee, and then they brought monks. And then what happened, with the support of those monks, Monk Upali from Thailand, Samanera Saranankara was higher ordained, and they started the present Buddhist Saṅgha membership. We call it Siam Nikaya. That's how they started. Now there is a gap, right? 17th century gap, almost 100 years gap, 100 to 120 years gap. So when people are questioning about, you don't have an unbroken lineage, they say, it's okay, don't worry. When the last Upasampada monk stayed in Sri Lanka until 17th century, they brought it to Sukhothai kingdom in Thailand. So when the monk Upali brought Buddhism from Thailand to Sri Lanka, that Sukhothai Buddhism came into Sri Lanka. So they say our Buddhism is unbroken. The Sri Lankan Saṅgha members, they say our Buddhism is unbroken. I mean the scholarly monks. So this is how Saṅgha membership has been evolving. So it's not, to us, it's broken at a certain point. That's why you see in different countries, Thailand, they have their own Saṅgha membership, Burma, they have their own. Sri Lanka is a mix of these two countries. So, and then there are differences in the Saṅgha membership, a lot of differences, how they run the temples, and what are they presenting sometimes, right? So with all these changes, differences, we still want to understand these precious interpretations about Saṅgha members. So we will take a look. Okay, the first quality, now here, noche dhammang anusareyat. If by remembering of the Dhamma's great qualities, 6 great qualities, still you are not getting any, I would say, support. Because it's not because of the Dhamma's great qualities inability to support you. It's your personal, your personal ability to become affected, to become supported also matters. Sometimes Dhamma is okay. It is our personal problem, right? Sometimes everything is okay, but it's our bad thinking. Huh? It's our bad thinking. Maybe the way how we look at it. So anyways, depending on different people, sometimes even by reflecting upon the 6 great qualities of the Dhamma, still you feel a bit scared, feared and all that. Then Saṅghang Anusareyata, you need to think about the Saṅgha members. How? This very famous Pali statement. Supatipanno Bhagavatu Sava. I think maybe you can read with me. Noche dhammang anusareyata ata sanghang anusareyata. Supatipanno Bhagavatu Savaka Sanghu. Ujupatipanno Bhagavatu Savaka Sanghu. Nyaya patipanno Bhagavatu Savaka Sanghu. Samichi patipanno Bhagavatu Savaka Sanghu. Yadidang chattari purisa yugani atta purisa puggala. Esa Bhagavatu Savaka Sanghu. Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakhineyo Anjali Karaniyo. Anuttarang Punyakketang Lokassati. Sangang Hivu Bhikkhave Anussaratang Yang Bhavissati Bhayangva Chambitattangva Lomahansova So Pahesati. That means when you are able to properly remember and then understand the Sangha's 9 great qualities, you should be good in terms of your problems, right? Okay, so we are going to learn about the Sangha's first 4 great qualities. Okay. The first great quality of the Sangha members is Supatipanno. Huh? Supatipanno. Right? Supatipanno. Let's separate out this Pali word. How to separate out? Huh? Su. Pati. Panno. Supati Panno. What does Supati Panno means? Well, practicing well. Pati means towards. Panno means in the activity of practicing. Su means well. Su means well. What are the other words you know about Su? Pali Su? Su? Any Pali word? Sukhi hotu. Sukhi hotu. Not dukhi hotu. Huh? That's the opposite. Dukhi means opposite. We don't say that to anybody. And other words? Sutta. That word is a noun, so you cannot separate out that Pali word. You have to find a longer word. What's that? Yeah, suju is one word. That's probably a very short word. Little bit longer one. Sumeda. Is Sumeda here? There's a Sumeda actually. This word we can separate out very nicely. How to separate out? Su. Then Meda. Meda means wise. That means very wise. Huh? Sometimes, sometimes a little complicating when you're very wise. Because we don't separate out wisdom. Wisdom is wisdom. Right? Not little wise, medium wise, high wise, or very wise. So, su means better version of that. Another Pali word with su? Sugato. Sugato. Then gato we know. Gato means gone. Then well gone. Right? So su means good. So here, su means well. Pati. Well, pati means towards. So we have to then understand the implied meaning here. Implied meaning is well practice. You can see over here, Saṅgha are supposed to practice well. How to practice well? What do Saṅgha members practice? What are they practicing? Huh? What's the purpose of practicing Vinaya rule at the beginning? They are supposed to practice Dhamma. They are supposed to practice Dhamma. Then they are supposed to follow Vinaya as well. Vinaya is there to support the Dhamma. Otherwise, Vinaya is not important. Vinaya is there to support the practice of Dhamma. Why Sila is there for you? What is Sila for? You see that there are more Sila people than the people who practice Dhamma. Have you seen that? There are more Sila people than the people who practice Dhamma with Sila. Why is it? They have get stuck. They have ended up in the Sila practice. So Dhamma is the most important. When you practice Dhamma very well, you are already good. You are already a good person. But there are people who don't practice Dhamma very well. They need some training, Vinaya side, some Sila side, right? That's why the Buddha didn't want to implement Vinaya for how many years? 30 years of his time. 30 years or 20 years? 20 years. For 20 years of his life, from 35 to 55, he did not say any Vinaya thing. Why? The monks, nuns are already good. So why do you want to say any rules? If your family members are good, why you want to make house rules? Then you make house rules for other people who come to the house. Don't wear your shoes and come to my house. You make it, because they might not know your house rules. What if that your family members, your friends, your others, they're already good people? Do you have to tell them, you must do this, you should do this? And it's a little embarrassing to tell people to do things. Huh? They feel a little bit embarrassed, and it's not nice. So Buddha didn't say any Vinaya thing for. He became the Buddha when he was 35 up until 55. No Vinaya. The Vinaya came in when he was 55 until 80. How many years? Huh? Another 25 years. Why? What was the reason why Buddha had to create Vinaya? What are the reasons? There were different people who were trying to become monks. By this time, there were many educated people became Saṅgha members. When they are too educated, they were trying to compare with the uneducated Saṅgha members. Right? Not everybody is educated, right? Within the Saṅgha community. They were trying to, I'm better than you, I know better than you. So this was a problem. And when some Saṅgha members stayed longer, what you call seniority, then they looked down upon the junior Saṅgha members. I've been here for 15, 20 years, but you guys are new here, and you don't know anything. And we know a lot of things. So there were certain hierarchical problems came in. This was one of the reasons. Another reasons? Well-readness. When the Buddha Sasana was having some time, then there were a lot of monks who read a lot of Dhamma things, so they came up with their own interpretations. So they were sometimes clashing each other, here and there. So then Buddha understood now is the perfect time to say a couple of training stuff. Actually, Vinaya is not a rule. I think I want to say that. Perhaps I am going to erase some part of it. Oh, this part we can keep it. Okay, the Pali word Vinaya means, Naya means, what does Naya mean? Naya means niyati, that means becoming. You are becoming a better version of you. We, in particular. So every time the Buddha said what he called a sikkhapada, like you have in the 5 precept, sikkhapada means, pada is an accomplishment of discipline. You cannot translate this word. It's an accomplishment of a discipline. Because those people who didn't even listen to their mothers and fathers, will they listen to other Saṅgha members? Most of the Saṅgha members, they didn't even listen to their mother and father. That's why they became monks. Right? Aren't they? They said, no, you can't become a monk. No, I want to become a monk. So will they listen to another Saṅgha member? Think about how the mind works. So Buddha didn't want to create rules. Rules you have to monitor. Somebody has to monitor. It's a very tedious process. And then there are a lot of arguments that can happen, a lot of other problems that can happen. So Buddha said, no, this is a self-imposement. You are imposing on you. It is for you. You are the one who knows it. Because a lot of Vinaya things are mind-based stuff. Now let's say one Saṅgha member is going to blame another Saṅgha member. Then there is a reporting going to a Saṅgha fellowship. Then the Buddha said, in reviewing this issue, they have to first look at whether the Saṅgha member who blame is mentally healthy. They want to clarify whether he is intentional or not. You can't just take it from outside. So this means these are not rules. Right? Rules means if you've done it, you are excluded. These are very compassionate ways of helping other people to create their own discipline, like your 5 precepts. How do you know you have 5 precepts? You are the one who knows whether you have it or not. Other people don't want to check. We don't bother about that. Okay, so Supatipanno, Saṅgha members support to practice well. What are they supposed to practice? Dhamma, not Vinaya. Vinaya is a following, to support the Dhamma practice. Our main thing is Dhamma practice. Then to support that Dhamma practice, we need Sila, and Saṅgha members will look at their own. But the Vinaya rules most of them are outdated, because there are many very good ones, but the rest of the ones, they are outdated. They have to be revamped. They have to be updated. Then the Buddha said before he passed away, minor rules, you should release minor rules in his deathbed. Then what happened? In the first convocation, Arahant Mahakashyapa and other monks, they were asking, what are the minor rules among the 500 Arahants? Some Arahants said minor rules are these rules, what they call these particular area. Others disagreed, other Arahants. Some other Arahants said, no, that is not the area. These are the areas that are minor rules. Finally, what happened? Arahants went into a big argument, So crazy. They said, no, we just live as they are. They could not release. But the Buddha said, you must release, because when the conditions change, you got to change them. Because we don't have those Indian Saṅgha at this time. Then what happened? They are the same now. So what I'm trying to say is that there are things that we have to look at very compassionately. So the practice is Dhamma practice. But what is the practice of Saṅgha members? Noble Eightfold Path, like your path, same path. The Saṅgha members follows the Buddha's teaching sincerely and practices the Dhamma correctly. They have to practice sincerely and then correctly. This is a very big statement. Now let me ask you, I think perhaps, are there newcomers today? There is one. I don't know how it sounds to you, but anyways, you can catch up with these things. Perhaps I'm going to ask you, who is a Saṅgha member? I think that's a good question, right? The Pali word Saṅgha means community. Saṅgha means community. So this community, I think I explained to you, there are 4 types of Saṅgha members. Can you remember those 4 types? Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni. Bhikkhu, there are 4, okay. Saṅgha means community. It's not one Saṅgha member, so there are 4. Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika. So they are the ones who are practicing. So their practice, when they are supposed to practice well, it means they are supposed to practice sincerely. This is interesting. What is a practice of sincerity? How to practice Dhamma sincerely? What do you think? Forget about the Saṅgha members. What do you think? Are you supposed to practice your Dhamma thing sincerely? Your 5 precepts, basically. Not killing, not stealing, not sexually misbehaving, not lying, not taking intoxicants. How does it sound to you? Have you been able to practice sincerely these 5? Or you practice just the way how other people notice you? How does your lay practice go sincerely? What are the things you need to do it? What is that? Honestly. I'm asking how to practice Dhamma honestly. What did you say? Being true to oneself. So this is not a practice to show to other people. This is your own Dhamma practice. So you have to practice while being honest to you. Whether you kill other beings, whether you have thoughts of killing other beings, whether you have thoughts of stealing other people's stuff. So I think if you have showed up in our Tuesday, right? Tuesday, when did we have our dialogue session? It happened on a couple days ago. We were discussing about 5 precepts. 5 precepts. So in that discussion, we discussed that you have to find out the levels of these precepts, how they can be broken, right? And even stealing, not stealing. It is not just someone goes to somewhere and then steals something. It is also taking other people's stuff, consciously, unconsciously, right? So you are going to be very honest in your practice. If you cannot be honest, you are not becoming able to practice Dhamma. So then Saṅgha members, they are supposed to practice very sincerely. That is very important. But when someone is practicing sincerely, there is a problem. They might go into a certain kind of perfectionism. This is a problem. This is an extreme end of the practice. I think you may also sometimes go to that kind of level, perfectionism. How to understand a perfectionist Buddhist? A person who is practicing Buddhism with some perfectionism. The one who get very stressed out because of the practice. Have you ever become stressed out because of your own practice? How did you become stressed out in your practice? And you started meditation, and then during the meditation you were floating. Suddenly you open your eyes and you are not floating at that point. You are here, right? And then you got very stressed out. How to go back to that kind of state of mind again? How you become very stressed out during your Buddhist practice, your Dhamma practice? Too rigid. I'm asking, how can one become too rigid in one's Dhamma practice? Because now Supatipanno means Sangha members are not supposed to become rigid because they have to practice it sincerely. Expectations is one thing, and then everybody practices Dhamma in their own way. So we cannot impose a certain common rule to everybody, right? That is something that we all have to understand. Sangha members have to understand that properly. It's like a class. In a class, different students learn differently. I mean, their attention, their way of understanding. So they have to give some extra space to understand that kind of difference in the practice. What are the other ways people can become very stressed out in their practice? Tell me. What are the areas? Meditation is one area. Then another area? Huh? Holding on to views. So this can become what kind of views are they? Yeah. So sometimes they take the words very literally, right? Say for instance, when you are going to practice Dhamma, like let's take a very simple example, Panatipata Veramani, as you said. Then you have to deal with certain issues in your household time to time. Sometimes there can be pests, sometimes there can be cobwebs. And what to do with these cobwebs? What to do with the mosquitoes, right? And you don't know the gray area of practicing Panatipata. You always think, I cannot do anything. And at the same time, you become very paranoid too, but there are a lot of animals coming to my house. This is a problem, but I cannot do anything. I think I'm stuck between, I'm kind of sandwiched between two things. And then because I'm a Buddhist, I cannot kill. And because I want to be healthy, I have to do something for them, right? Now this is a gray area. So how to practice Buddhism at that point? Then we have to understand, what did the Buddha say about these events. Buddha said we have to find out what could be a better way to handle certain situation. We have to keep our houses clean and tidy all the time. This is something we can do, right? Perhaps we can sometimes take other steps to avoid certain future attacks, right? So that means cleaning is one important thing. And the other thing is that and there are some other people who are becoming very cautious about all these things. Finally, they are killing all these animals, right? So you have to prepare for anything and do certain things before things are going to happen, right? Otherwise, becoming very stressed out and paranoid, panic in terms of anything will make you very stressed out in the practice. So there are a lot of things like that. So sincerity is very important when it comes to the practice. So Sangha members supposed to practice with sincerity. At the same time, correctly. What is this correctly? What does it mean? Dhammanu Dhamma Patipada. This is one important thing for lay people also. If you want to become a Sotapanna, you need to practice Dhamma according to how the Buddha gave to us. How to find out that kind of Dhamma? You need to study some suttas. That's why you are here. Otherwise, you may go to a Dhamma talk. But when you listen to a Dhamma talk, things are going here and there, right? You don't know the approach. But when you come to a sutta study, you learn the sutta one by one. One sutta one day, one area one day. Then you go to listen to Dhamma talk. When you finish listening to certain sutta discussions, only you go to listen to Dhamma talks. Otherwise, Dhamma talks are talking about a very vast area with lot of interpretations. So that's why learning certain suttas are very important. So because you are learning some original teachings of the Buddha, right? So Sangha members are supatipanno because they are practicing well with regard to honesty, sincerity, and then this correctness. That is supatipanno. What are they practicing? The Noble Eightfold Path. Number 2, ujupatipanno. Ujupatipanno. Okay, ujupatipanno, uju. Have you found out this Pali word before? Uju? This Pali word? Karaniya Metta Sutta. That one we have to discuss. Interesting, somebody said something. Yes. What is uju? Where do you find it? Sakko ujucha sujucha suachu chassamudu anatimani. I think we have to study Karaniya Metta Sutta one day. Yeah? Very interesting sutta. I have done that in many other places. It's a very simple sutta, but a lot of meanings. In the Karaniya Metta Sutta, we find out these Pali words, uju, and then there's another word called suju. Sakko ujucha, sujucha, not sujucha, sujucha. Uju, sujucha. Then, can we translate these two Pali words? Uju means? Uju means? Straight. Like this. How to practice like this? Because we go here and there sometime like this. Dhamma practice can go zigzag sometime. Okay, they say straight. Straight. Then suju, more straight. Maybe like a very straight line like this. How to practice Dhamma like this, on a straight line? So this translation is very poor. Okay? Because what has happened here? They have translated in the literal sense. Pali, you cannot always translate in the literal sense. It's like Kukkutarama. I always mention this, Kukkutarama. What is this? This is from Attaka Nagara Sutta, Majjhima Nikaya. Then it is said, Venerable Ananda went to this temple. But the translation said, Venerable Ananda went to the chicken feet monastery. Let's go find it out. Because it's interesting. Attaka Nagara Sutta. Yeah. He went to the chicken monastery. Has he? You see here. He went to the chicken monastery. That means there must have a lot of chicken, roosters, chicken. And then we'll see another translation. Don't look at the person, That's not nice, right? We don't look at translator's name. See. This Kukkuta's Park, much better, little better, Kukkuta's Park. And then chicken park, see? It now turned from chicken monastery to chicken park. And then, this is very Cox Monastery. What is this? Cox Monastery. This translation was done by a professor at Cambridge University, I.B. Horner. She passed away a long time ago. See, this is the problem, So what is this? Kukkutarama is not any of these. Kukkutarama means the monastery donated by Kukkuta. So do you translate personal names? You cannot. So that's why the problem arising. Though there are 100 translations over here, but the problem is the issue by understanding the proper translation. So in the same way, this is a literal translation. Uju mean, what is uju? The integrity of your body and speech. This is a contextual translation. Integrity you cannot integrity of your body and speech. That means whatever the actions you are doing, whatever the speeches you are doing, they are in union. You talk, you do. You do, you talk. There's no conflict. Some people talk, but they do something else. Some people do something, but that is not what they talk. So there's no integrity. Uju means integrity. Integrity. Buddha had this. Buddha had this quality. We call it, Buddha has a quality like this. Yatha vadi, tata kari. This is the Buddha's quality. Just the way Buddha talks something, that is how Buddha acts on that. It's a great quality. So uju means integrity of your body and speech. Then suju, more straight. Then if uju is integrity of your body and speech, then this will be integrity of your thoughts. Thoughts. So going back, uju patipanno. Here again straight, but we understand what is this uju. The Saṅgha members practice the Dhamma with integrity, following a direct and honest path to liberation without deviation. In our Dhamma path, we all sometimes can get deviated. What are the reasons how we can get deviated in the Dhamma path? Wrong Dhamma advices by other people. This is the main thing. How do we know wrong advice? Especially meditation practice. This is a very interesting place for many people to get deviated. They don't know where to find out the true Buddhist meditation. Where to find out the true Buddhist meditation? We have to find out true Buddhist meditation under the Samma Sati. Samma Sati. Samma Sati means Satipatthanas. We are going to practice one of the Satipatthanas. But there are a bunch of meditation practices that are going in today's world. So now you have to understand how to practice your meditation. And we know this is a part of the Noble Eightfold Path. And we cannot practice Samma Sati without earlier Noble Path factors, Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa. It is a gradual practice. So then, integrity means this integrity. At the same time, how to limit other deviations. Meditation is one place. Then, what could be other deviations in your Dhamma practice? Not being able to get a personal advice for your Dhamma journey. That can also be a problem, right? Because all these suttas were given to different other people. They were not given to you or me, right? Now this sutta was given to Sura Asura and then some other monks, right? They were not directly given to us. So then, but we learn the common narrative of these suttas, and then we want to check whether my practice, your practice is really going properly. So a teacher is important. Otherwise, this deviation can happen. What are the other deviations that can happen in your Dhamma practice? Meditation-wise, then not having a good teacher-wise. Other areas? Reading the proper text. Where to read? Right? Where to read? Which area of Buddhist text should I focus on? Right? Is it a problem? It is a problem because they when they go to certain places, they see certain commentaries, Visuddhimagga, Abhidhamma. They start journey from those books, right? So better to read early Buddhism. early Buddhism. Early Buddhism means early books, Tiga Majjhima, Saṅgutta and Anguttara, sometimes Kuddaka, right? So not getting the proper advice as to the places of reading. Other ones, thinking that my practice should start only from a certain tradition, Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. We may all have come from different traditions, but when you practice Buddhism, it is early Buddhism. That means not Theravada, not Mahayana, not Vajrayana, right? Because you may otherwise practice certain cultural things, right? Certain cultural parts of that particular cultural Buddhism. Because if you go to Sri Lanka, if you go to Burma, Thailand, they have their own ways, different ways of practicing and teaching Buddhism. So which one to focus? Better not to focus, we learn from everything, but we more focus on early Buddhism. That's better. So that is another deviation. Which one to follow? What are the books that I am going to read? Where to start my journey? Other problems? How to practice Sila. This is a big problem among the lay people's community, right? Do I have to go for a very strong Sila, like 8 precepts? Is practicing 5 precepts enough? Right? This kind of. So I think these are deviations. So you have to properly approach. So Saṅgha members, they are conscious, they are aware about this issue. So they are definitely working on this integrity, and then they are not supposed to deviate from the practice. Third one, Nyaya Patipanno. Nyaya. Supatipanno, Ujupatipanno. Nyaya Patipanno. That means we have to practice, Saṅgha members practice Dhamma wisely. Saṅgha members practice the Dhamma wisely, understanding and applying the teachings with insight and discernment. Nyaya means this wisdom practice. Now take it to your side too. How to practice Dhamma wisely? What do you think? Now the Buddha gave this Dhamma 2600 years ago, but now the conditions have changed. How to practice Dhamma in the modern life? Do we have to think a little bit in how this is going to work out in our real life? How is it going to work out? Is practicing Dhamma in today's world difficult? Challenging, right? It's challenging. Why is it challenging? Because a lot of people would like to take it as it is from the text and then practice it in the same way. But sometimes it looks not practical, impractical, certain things. Now say for instance, work, living aspects. The Buddha said, don't work in a place where they sell poison. Huh? But now laboratories, biomedical companies, if you are working for a fertilizer company, they all sell poison. So what is wrong with that then? Perhaps they are selling the fertilizers which have certain insecticides things or pesticide things to give good crops to the market. Perhaps intention might be different. But what if you take it that word? You cannot work in a place where they sell poison. How to practice it? Then we have to know how is it going to be worked out in the modern life. This is one thing. And Buddha said you cannot sell meat. Let's go and check it out. Vanijja Sutta. Vanijja Sutta, wrong living. We'll take it from Sutta Central, much better. Okay. See, 5 kinds of trade that are wrong living. That means some Miccha Ajiva. Take it. A lay follower should not engage in these 5 trades. What are they? Trade in weapons. Trade in weapon. That means, yeah. And then Satta Vanijja, selling animals. That means if you are a Buddhist, you cannot have a farm. You cannot sell animals, right? You cannot sell. And then Mansa Vanijja, you cannot sell meat. And then you cannot sell liquor. And you cannot sell poison. What is this? Living creatures? You cannot sell humans, human trafficking. So we have to go to another translation to see some, this could be better. Business in weapons, business in human beings, business in meat, business in intoxicants, business in poison. How to practice these things? Are you going to be in trouble with this teaching? Look at it. This is a sutta which is coming under Anguttara Nikaya. So the Buddha said these things because at that time many people were part of these industries in massive ways. At that time, most of these businesses could have been, left. People who were in those industries, they could have left, they could have joined certain other businesses. But today's world, we know these are part of normal businesses, right? But there are certain things you have to definitely, say for instance, business in human beings. That means human trafficking, we can avoid. What about someone who is running a restaurant? What about someone who is running a shop? Right? So that's why I'm telling you, we have to practice Buddhism wisely. Not saying that these are wrong. They have certain points. But we have to look at the relevance to today's world. Otherwise, if you take it as black and white, no, I cannot, then you may not be able to even live in this present world. Okay, so that is something to think about. So we have to practice Dhamma wisely, not unwisely. So we have to understand how is the practice going to work. Okay, Nyaya means that practical aspect. We could also say practicing Dhamma practically. Okay. Last one today. Samichi Patipanno. Samichi Patipanno. Samichi means, this is very interesting compared to the previous tree. Practicing Dhamma properly. And there is an English word here, propriety. What is this propriety? What does propriety mean here? Propriety means applicability to the time, applicability to the moment, to the particular activity. The Saṅgha members supposed to practice Dhamma in a way that is appropriate, embodying the teachings with propriety, respect and discipline. Propriety is interesting here because that means we have to practice it according to the situation, right? According to the situation. Now say for instance a Saṅgha member who is living in a very cold country, right? So he or she may have to use inner clothing, a thermal wear, right? Maybe a boot, right? Because that person has to understand where he or she is, right? So with this changing dynamics, they have to understand how to do their Dhamma practice. And someone who is looking at it from a very basic, very orthodox understanding will get offended by looking at that. Why a Saṅgha member is wearing inner clothes, thermal clothes? So they have to follow this propriety thing, right? Sometimes when they are living in those countries, the way how they have to greet people is not saying like this. People don't appreciate that. You have to shake hands with everybody, right? That is their culture. Maybe later on, Saṅgha member has to advise, this is not our way. But initially they have to keep up with the culture, right? So the propriety is very important. But when it comes to an Asian country, it's different. So Samichi means that proper practice. Proper means how to apply the teaching, how to apply the practice to different cultures and different other situations. So this is what we understand by Samichi Patipanno. Okay, let's go back again. Supatipanno, well practiced. Uju Patipanno. Uju means what you call this integrity practice, practicing with integrity. Nyaya Patipanno, practicing wisely. Samichi Patipanno, practicing properly means with some propriety, understanding the causes and conditions of that particular place. All right, if you have any questions, you may ask. Otherwise, we can carry on after this point. Any questions about today's points? There's a mic, you can go over there. Please. I think you have to push hold press. Hold press.
Okay. Bhante, I would like to clarify on this word Saṅgha, which means communities and consists of 4 groups of people. So when we chant Tisarana, salutations to Saṅgha, does it mean that it consists of these 4 groups of people who are practicing, or what does, or is different meaning?
No,
Thank you.
These 4 communities. When you say, I think you are asking Saṅghang Saranang Gacchami, right?
Yeah.
You are wondering, are those Sanghas same
monk or nun only?
No. You are practicing Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, Upasaka, Upasika, Saṅgha. Not only Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni. Bhikkhu, Bhikkhuni, you understand they are Saṅgha, but Upasaka, Saṅgha, not Upasakas. Upasaka, all you are Upasakas, are males here. Right? All ladies are Upasikas here, but they are not Upasakas. They are Upasaka Saṅgha. They are Upasika Saṅgha. Who are they? Lay people, laymen who attain Sotapatti, became Sotapan. Lay women who attain Sotapatti. They are Upasaka Saṅgha. They may be lay people, we never know. But they are Sotapanna. So when you say Saṅghang Saranang Gacchami, Dutiyampi Tatiyampi, that means they are the ones.
Thank you.
Yes. Please turn off your mobile phones for our flow, or please put it to the silent mode. Yeah. And other questions about Yes.
Good evening, Bhante.
Good evening. Yes.
Sorry, I actually am curious about that word that you wrote about the quality of the Buddha when we were talking about integrity.
Yes, that one.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see.
If somebody can help me erasing this part, I would write it a little bigger.
Yeah, so I'm just curious because you said
somebody
that
can come and erase this part. The whole thing, I will write it. Yeah, Yathavadi Tathakari.
Yes, so you're saying that is equality of the Buddha? So I'm just wondering.
It's a quality.
Yeah.
But it's not under the 9 great qualities. There are other qualities. Yeah, there are many other qualities.
Right. So that was where I was coming from, like whether it is actually in any way related to the 9 qualities, but you just answered it.
This is not a part of the 9, but it is mentioned elsewhere.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
I have other questions which are related to the Dhamma qualities. So I don't know whether I should be asking them now, since we've already covered it. Right. So I'm just curious about the translation for Akaliko. Because I have seen that sometimes it's referred to as timeless, and sometimes it's referred to as immediate, which is in some other translation. And then at other times it is also, what's the other one? Timeless, immediate. Yeah. So I'm just curious, are they the same?
Now you said akaliko, one translation is universal.
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that was the other term.
Rather than timeless, universal. Yes, because I think that is taken from the literal translation. Literally, kala, no kala. Kala means time. That means it is universal. The translation we had was, it's immediately, affecting. The practice of Dhamma, immediately affecting. So you don't have to wait for it.
Right. And how does that kind of differentiate from Sanditiko? Because when I look at the notes, it also talk about how you're able to see the effects almost immediately.
Perhaps we can go to the text again.
Yeah, so I think that was the confusion,
sure.
because it seemed very similar.
Okay. Earlier one, I think. Okay. Okay, Sanditiko. Yeah, beneficial effects become evident. Yes, yes, Sanditiko, to be seen in this life. Akaliko, that means the beneficial effects of practicing Dhamma immediate and not delayed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they seem kind of similar to me.
Okay, well, we take a look at it. Its beneficial effects become evident here and now. And we actually basically said that Sanditiko means that we have to study and practice sincerely, Sanditiko. And then thereby, their effects become evident here and now. We said that Dhamma has to be thoroughly studied and sincerely practiced. That is Sanditiko. As a result of that, it will become Akaliko.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the effects being immediate is actually the next part, which is Akaliko.
Yeah. So connecting to the next part.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just to create the connection.
So the Sanditiko part is more about practicing sincerely.
Thoroughly wide studying, at the same time sincere practice.
Right. And the next part, which is beneficial effects.
Akaliko.
Is
Akaliko means that there are people who are waiting for the result of the practice. So we cannot say that it is for the next life. That means it is for this life. And then it will become the universal truth.
Right.
So multiple things are connected to this translation.
Yeah. Because I've also heard about Sanditiko being evident, right? Like, so the evident part is the beneficial effects being evident, and therefore it's
a literal translation of Sanditiko. Ditti means seen. You have to see the Dhamma by yourself. How to see the Dhamma by yourself? You have to practice it widely and practice it sincerely.
Okay.
To see it, and then it will become evident.
Right.
That is the connection to the next one. Okay. And then when you practice like that, the results will become evident without a time period.
Okay.
Because when a lot of people practice Dhamma for the next life, right? But the results will become evident in this life, and then you don't need to worry about the next life.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I actually have more questions.
Yes,
but
please.
I will just.
Yeah, you can ask the question. Yes.
Are you
please.
sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is again related to something that you mentioned in the last class. So it's sort of like, like following up on what was mentioned in the last class, where we talked about the human rebirth is a rare occurrence, right? That particular sutta.
Human rebirth is not a rare occurrence.
Human rebirth is
for people who are reborn in the hell, human rebirth is a rare occurrence. That is what I said. Yeah. I said normally what you hear elsewhere is that they are interpreting human rebirth is rare. For whom? They don't explain that part. Human rebirth is rare for those who are in the hell, not for the humans now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm coming back to that point, and simply because I was searching the sutta on that, and that particular sutta didn't quite kind of give me that clarity that human rebirth being a rare occurrence is when someone is in a woeful state. I didn't quite get that from that sutta itself.
It should have Balapandita Sutta. See? You should have it somewhere.
What about the other sutta, the Chilaga?
What is that?
There's a Chulaga. Hang on.
What is it?
There's a.
Yeah, turtle one is here. It's here.
Really?
Yeah. Did you read the same sutta? Okay, we'll go and take a look. See.
The one I looked at was Sanguttara Nikaya 56.48.
What is that?
Dutiya Chigala.
No, that's not what I mentioned. I said the Balapandita Sutta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Balapandita. Okay, let's take a look. This is what I said, I think, somewhere.
Okay. Sorry, I wasn't. Yeah, I didn't know that you were referring to a different sutta at that time.
Yeah, this is a sutta. You can read it, and I think we have to go a lot of passages.
Sure.
Time.
So basically, this is a sutta and not the other sutta that I sort of stumbled upon.
Yeah, let me first take a look here. Okay, good. I could tell you many different things about the animal realm. Okay, apaya, hell. So much so that it is not easy to completely describe the suffering in the animal realm. Monks, suppose a person were to throw a yoke with a single hole into the ocean. The east wind wafts in west, and west wind wafts it east and north, south, and like this. And there was a one-eyed turtle who popped up once every 100 years. What do you think, monks? Would that one-eyed turtle still poke its neck through the hole in that yoke? No, sir. Only after a very long time, if ever. That one-eyed turtle would poke its neck through the hole in that yoke sooner than a fool who has fallen to the underworld would be reborn as a human being. That's the point here, right? So that's why I said, when you hear this simile from many interpretations, what they say is that being reborn as a human is very difficult compared to a one night. It is given to somebody who is already in the hell, not for the human beings. So this is something that we have to take it implied sense, because human beings have done that good karma already. But they may be reborn in a hell again, but mostly they have the ability to be reborn as humans. It's a good news.
Yeah.
It's a good news. You don't need to be very much worried about certain ideas that you might be reborn in a hell. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just saying that if someone were to see this other sutta that I stumbled upon, we would not have known that unless we come to
That's why wide reading is important.
Right.
Only reading one small, because Anguttara Nikaya has all small suttas. Majjhima Nikaya is the place where you see all the philosophical context. So we have to read these Majjhima Nikaya a little bit more and then go to Saṅgutta and Anguttara Nikayas.
Right. Okay.
Say for instance, Majjhima Nikaya mentions and Digha Nikaya mentions Satipatthana Sutta, but Saṅgutta Nikaya also mentions Satipatthana Saṅgutta. So at which point we go to Saṅgutta Nikaya Satipatthana Saṅgutta after reading Majjhima Nikaya and Digha Nikaya Satipatthana. So preference is in Majjhima Nikaya.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Start with those before we get to the Saṅgutta.
So I think if you read, you will find out. That's it. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Yes. Because I wanted to highlight that point, because there are a lot of places I have heard that they are interpreting that being reborn as a human is very rare for the beings in the hell.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good news, because you already done that, and you are doing other things to work as humans, 10 kusalas, then you have a much more possibility to be reborn as humans. Yes.
That is a very comfortable, interpretation, which is the first time that we actually hear. So, okay, related to all this, Bhante, today's topic we are talking about the Saṅgha. So, based on it, you say that the Saṅgha will have to practice the Dharma wisely, sincerely, etc., etc., etc.
Supposed
to.
Okay.
Supposed to. So, as you say, in order to do so, they probably need to have, like what we know, they probably need to have good teachers to tell them to interpret and all these things. And then these are all the Saṅghas. So later I'll talk about we lay people. So Saṅgha, so I presume this Saṅgha will have all the good teachers, is it? If they don't have good teacher to guide them, so what happened? Question number one. Question number two, good teachers also have different interpretation. So with different interpretation, it will end up, like you say, we have to study early Buddhism. But with later interpretation, with later commentary, everything, etc., it will come out to have later suttas, later commentary. So in the end, we do know which is right, which is wrong.
Okay.
That kind of thing.
Good. Normally, lay people are not supposed to comment about the Saṅgha members. That is, I just have to mention that they are not doing that just for the sake of not making a bad karma. The fifth one. Anyways, very interesting question. The first question is that the importance of having the teacher for a Saṅgha member is very important, because not even for a lay person, who is a good teacher? A teacher who is not pushing the student to too much unnecessary activities. Say, for instance, I think I shared with you a story. Remember, there was a monk who was a lay person. I think your two questions, right? I can answer.
Okay.
Yeah, please. There was a lay person, I think I shared this story, who is a banker, a businessman. So he found out a monk at the Buddha time. And then he asked the monk, I want to practice Buddhism. So how to practice? He said, okay, you start giving some dana. Give some dana. Then he started giving some dana once a month or something like that. After some time, he said, I want to do more. I want to become more Buddhist. And then he said, okay, then you can increase the intensification of your practice. Maybe you can give dana every week or something like this, and 4 times a month. He even asked more. He said, you do dana couple of days a week. Finally, monk said, you do dana every day because you are asking me. Then he asked, at a certain point of time, I think I am doing a lot of dana now, but I feel I want to do something else. Then the monk said, you practice sila. And he was trying to practice different precepts, different things like that. At a certain point, he kept asking the monk what to do. I want to do more and more. Then the monk said, okay, then you can become a monk. Right? Because you are asking a lot of things now. So I think you have crossed the border of doing things as a layperson. You become a monk. Okay. He said to the wife, I want to become a monk. I don't do this thing. I mean, it is an extraordinary story. You don't follow the literal sense of the story. I want to become a monk. Okay, go for it. And then he became a monk. He got a teacher and a mentor. Every monk has a teacher and a mentor. Like normally when they become samanera and upasampada as well. Teacher is the one who is closely monitoring, advising him. Upajjaya we call it. Mentor is someone who, periodically gives an advice. Perhaps maybe teacher, the student's teacher might be screened out by him also. So what happened? This businessman now is a monk. His teacher was a Vinaya teacher. He is well versed in Vinaya. He knows all the Vinaya books at that time. Actually, there was no Vinaya book at that time. The Vinaya books were started after Buddha passed away. He knows Vinaya. And teacher, the mentor is an Abhidhamma expert, right? Both are very, very different areas of the canon. So then he was stuck in the practice. So whenever he wants to go see the teacher, he talks a lot of Vinaya to him. And when he goes to see the Upajjhaya, Acharya means teacher, Upajjhaya means mentor, he talks about very, very deep Dhamma things. You know, there is no body, only 8 things are there. You can also minimize 8 things. There are no things out there, only 4 elements. Solidity, water, earth, water, heat, and all that. And there is nobody, only this is what is happening. And he got confused. And he was more confused not with the Upajjhaya, but with the teacher. So teacher was always asking, you cannot do this, you cannot do this, only you can do this. He thought, now I can't even stretch out my arm. What a problem that I came in. So he thought, I became very restricted in my this thought process. I want to do more Buddhist thing. Finally, I became stuck in something. So I better go back as a lay person. So then he told the teacher, I am going to go back because I cannot do. You are talking a lot of things that are restrictive. And then teacher couldn't say anything. So other monks found out he is going to disrobe now. So they told the Buddha. Then Buddha asked him to come. And then the Buddha asked the problem, and he said the story. Then he said, okay, you don't have to practice Vinaya, you don't have to learn Abhidhamma. Can you do one thing? What is that? Can you take care of your mind, your thoughts? Is it possible for you? He said, yes, I'll take care of them. Leave about Vinaya and Abhidhamma. Then he took care of his thoughts. He looked at them with reflection and what is happening. He became an Arahant. He became an Arahant. If Vinaya was not there for 20 years, then all the monks became Arahant at that time. What does it mean? Good people don't need Vinaya. Only bad people need Vinaya. All the Vinaya things happen because somebody made a mistake at that time. Then there is a thing. But for the 20 years from Buddha's life, 35 to 55, no Vinaya. Buddha said, my Vinaya is only one stanza. Sabba papassa karana, kusalasa upasampada, sachitta pariyodapana. This is Vinaya. He said, not doing anything akusala, doing all the kusala, purifying your thoughts, that is the Vinaya. What do you think? Asking you one by one, sir, you can't do this, you can't do this, rather saying, don't do anything bad, do all the good thing, purify you. What is a very beneficial, very comfortable advice for you? I think that's sabba papassa karana. It is such a very nice advice, right? Other things you have to plan by yourself. But if there is somebody says, you can't do this, you cannot go there, you feel like you are very controlled in your spiritual life. So teacher is important to understand us. So luckily he got Buddha. If he had the Vinaya teacher, Abhidhamma teacher, he already ran away to the house. This is what is happening nowadays. When some people go to certain places, they feel bombarded with all this information. And they think, is this Buddhism? Sometimes they don't see the Buddhism in the books in some places, right? Because of the cultures and other things. So teacher is important. A good teacher, very kind, compassionate, understanding teacher who understands you and then teach you the Dhamma or the practice. Not understanding a lot of Dhamma books and telling you everything to do. That's not going to work because you are different, and the teacher has to pick up certain important, relevant Dhamma thing to you, to your own practice. So teacher is important. And you ask the second question as different interpretations of different teachers. I would go back to the chicken feet again. The Cox Monastery. Yeah. Now, this is a good place to understand the problem. Whatever you raised is exactly there, right? So, now interpretation problem is quite clear with these translations. Now, how did we understand it is not the Cox monastery, it's not the chicken feet monastery, it's not the chicken, but the monastery donated by the person called Kukkuta? How do we understand that? We learned some Pali. So that means we need a little bit of learning of some Pali, relevant Pali. Then we are not that much confused, because teachers come from different backgrounds. So we don't have to blame any teacher, but for our own goodness, we need to learn a bit of Pali, relevant Pali for this Dhamma practice. So interpretation wise, we are safe. We are not going to question about these translators Pali, but see what has happened over there. Well, we are not questioning about any translators Pali ability here, but something has gone wrong here. Somewhere. Something has gone wrong somewhere, right? I think one is a very scholarly person. She was the professor at Cambridge University for Pali. She translated I.B. Horner, and the other one is a monk, and also two monks. So the problem is, probably when they translated, they were rushing the translation because many suttas. Right? I think one day somebody should translate these suttas in this way, not like this. Make it a mathematical set, because lot of suttas are repeating everything. Lot of repetitions. So then people go to a sutta, okay, this is what it is said in the sutta. A very clear, simple message. Yeah, then you can see the parallel text. So I think to be on the safe side with the teacher's interpretations, because people interpret in their own language, not in the Pali. If they read, if they have a good Pali understanding, because not many monks studied Pali as a scholarly practice. This is the other problem. They have to learn Pali as a scholar and as a practitioner, not as a respectful practice. A lot of them learn Pali from other translations. We have to learn Pali from Pali. That is quite a big thing. If you find that kind of a monk, very good. That means you know what it is. All right, any more questions? Okay, we will make only one question.
Bhante, I heard about Zen Buddhism. Is that another category, another sect?
Yeah, in the Japanese tradition. Yeah.
Also, it's under Japanese.
Yeah, Buddhist school.
Oh, okay.
They don't believe the text. That is their specialty. They don't believe the text. Like we normally look at the text and then we try to teach, but they don't believe in the text. Books.
But how about the late Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh? Is he practicing Zen? Was he practicing Zen?
That's a Vietnamese, his own. Yeah, I think it's a mix of Mahayana and Theravada. It's a mix. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. But these actually, his teachings are very popular in the West because he's interpreting in English. But you are coming here to learn the original Buddhism. That's the difference. So I think better to learn from all these early suttas. All right, I think we have almost come to the time. So we are not insulting anybody, translators, but something has gone wrong somewhere. So that thing has to be studied. I think it's good to be on the safer side. But they may have done other translations very well. So we have to appreciate that. But in that particular place, it has gone wrong, right? So in Pali, we don't translate the proper names. What do you call? These individual personal names. The personal names we don't translate. Okay, so at this point of time, we are going to transfer all the good karmas towards departed ones, and then Deva Naga Mahindika. Today we've been learning about Saṅgha's first four qualities: Supatipanno, Ujupatipanno, Nyayapatipanno, Samijapatipanno qualities. So I think you need to learn them as four different things. And next day we are going to learn the last five. So then that is how we are going to plan. May all the good karmas you've been making today by learning about the first 4 qualities of the Sangha members, be transferred to all the departed ones. May they be well and happy. May they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayu. Idamme ñāti nang hotu sukhita huntu ñātayu. May Deva Naga Mahidika also receive all these good karmas. May they share. At the same time, may they be well and happy. May they protect and bless all of us for good health, quality of life and prosperity, safety. May they in particular bless our Dhamma journeys. May our Dhamma journeys become seamless, consistent Dhamma journeys. May they not become stagnant Dhamma journeys. Thinking thus, we are wishing, may Deva Naga Mahitika also finally attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sangpadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sangpatti sindhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sangpatti sindhya. Ittavata cha ammehi sambatang punya sangpadang sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sangpatti sindhya. Akasattha cha bhummattha deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu sasanang. Akasattha cha bhummattha deva naga punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu desanang. Akasattha cha bhummattha deva naga mahiddika punyantang anumoditva chirang rakhantu mang paranti chirang rakhantu tvan sadati. At the end of our sutta discussions or any other Dhamma program, we are making a wish. Our wish, this is a noble wish, not a personal selfish wish. This noble wish is about, may we be surrounded with noble friends, Kalyana Mittas. We have 2 Kalyana, we are supposed to have 2 Kalyana Mittas. One is the Buddha, the other one we have to find out. But we wish we all are Kalyana Mittas to each other here, learning together. And we wish, may we be able to be in the company of Kalyana Mittas all the way till we attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Having this wish, we are going to make this stanza. Imina punya kammena mami bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya. Finally, may all the good karmas we be making today, the sutta discussion 60th day, be supportive and helpful for all of us to attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Abhivadana sirissa niccang vaddha pacaino chattaru dhamma vaddhanti ayuvannu sukhang balang ayurarogya sampatti sagga sampatti me vacha atu nibbana sampatti iminati samicchatu. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And Sister Eng, yes. Sister Eng will conclude. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Bhante. Now, please, let's pay respect to Bhante by taking 3 bows together. Okay, first bow. Second bow. Third bow.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Wishing you a good night, safe journey, going back home. Thank you.